And welcome to America's Pastime with Michael McKenzie. I'm your host, Michael McKenzie. Trade deadline week has just kicked off. It's day one, Tuesday, where this is the 6 days leading up to the trade deadline. And with day one, we have some news. The starting pitching market has been the target for most people. Let's go with the top pitchers on the market. Yu Darvish. The Dodgers have reportedly been interested, reported yesterday. And now with the Rangers 1.5 out of the wild card race, they are now leaning against the move to trade Yu Darvish, pushing for the playoffs. So Yu Darvish is the top pitcher on the market at this point, but it is still unclear whether the Rangers want to deal their star pitcher. Yu Darvish actually had a Yankee scout in attendance for his last start. He went 8 innings strong, only giving up 4 hits, no earned runs, so a strong performance. The Yankees have been one of the top teams looking for rotation help. They have also been interested in Sonny Gray and Justin Verlander. The Yankees are definitely one of the top teams to get Yu Darvish. I think that if he goes anywhere, he'll go Dodgers or Yankees. Darvish has definitely been a dominant pitcher this year. He could definitely help somebody in a postseason run, but he's one of those rental players where you spend a whole lot and you just get him for this year. He's not protected for the 2018 season. He's going straight into free agency. So you really want to make a smart move when you get Yu Darvish, and the Rangers only said they are going to go and make the move if they get the right deal. So they are definitely going to be open to hearing offers, but unless they get the deal that benefits them, they are not going to deal Darvish. I do not expect them to give away Darvish by 4 o'clock on July 31st, but I'm not going to be surprised if he does go before that. Let's move on to Sonny Gray. The Yankees and Athletics have discussed discussing trade options that would send Sonny Gray and Yonder Alonso to the Yankees. Yankees needing both of those positions. They are going to really have to give up a lot for that deal, though, as Sonny Gray, one of the best pitchers, also atop with Yu Darvish as one of the best pitchers on the market. And as of yesterday, the Brewers are fading in the race to get Sonny Gray. They were one of the top contenders to get Gray, and now they're fading away because the Gray asking price is high. Either I think the Brewers don't. What I think is true, the Brewers don't have the assets to give up that the Athletics would be willing to get in a deal for Sonny Gray. I also think that they wouldn't be willing to give up those key players that they have because their minor league talent isn't at that top level. So they're not going to want to deal those players because they don't want to give up what little they have in the minor leagues. They need something for the future. They don't have very much, so they want to keep the little that they have. So I didn't expect the Brewers really to get him, but they were going to have to give up a crap ton to get Sonny Gray. Gray, also the Dodgers have been interested. The Cubs, no, they have Jose Quintana as they acquired him. But the Cubs, their leading pitcher to get is Justin Verlander. We're going to move on to him. Verlander, not much news going on for him, going on for his market. He's attracting a lot of teams for the trade deadline, but no big stories yet. The Cubs and Dodgers, that's the latest news. The Cubs and Dodgers are the top contenders to get Verlander. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cubs make the move. The Dodgers are interested in a lot of starting pitching, mainly Darvish and Verlander. So I think that the Dodgers are probably going to get Darvish, as I would think the Yankees are going towards a deal that would get them both a first baseman and a pitcher for the rotation. So that puts the Dodgers in the lead for getting pitcher Yu Darvish. And so really, if they can't get Yu Darvish, Verlander's their backup. But they're going to have to hurry up and know whether they want Darvish, because we don't know when they're going to deal Verlander. They don't know when Verlander's going to be dealt to possibly the Cubs, so they got to keep in touch with Verlander. If it's a close deal, I think that they should turn their attention off of Darvish and probably try to get Verlander, as Verlander's a most likely trade, as Darvish is still a maybe on the market. Let's go to some trades that actually happened today. courtesy of MLB Train Rumors. The Brewers did get a starting pitcher. The Brewers have acquired right-handed reliever, not a starter, but a reliever, Anthony Swarzak from the White Sox. And there you go with their little to give up, so they're not going to really want to give up much. As lately, the Rockies are seeking catching upgrades and bullpen arms. That is a little market. There's no very much catchers on the market. As of last year, they had Jonathan Lucroy on the market, but he had the no trade clause. He did not get that with the Rangers. So he is also on the trade market for the second year in a row. The Rockies are going to be most likely seeking him. Bullpen arms, they're really looking for really a small market. But it's a small market, but the market has definitely got some big names out there, such as Justin Wilson for the Tigers, Brad Brock and Zach Britton from the Orioles, but that would be a very high asking price. The Rockies, maybe they'll pay that price to get players for a possible World Series run. And also Marlins' A.J. Ramos. The Marlins have been reeling in offers for Ramos. He is most likely to get traded at the deadline. I would be surprised if he would remain a Marlin after July 31st. But there's really not much to go on. Wellington Castillo is also in consideration, so the Rockies are definitely are keeping in touch with the Orioles on those players. Other names are Kurt Suzuki of the Braves and Alex Avila of the Tigers. Avila's name's been thrown around in a couple of trade options. Ian Kinsler, they are talking about the Tigers are definitely dealing at the deadline. They are wheeling in offers for Ian Kinsler. So there's definitely a lot of news going on for the Detroit Tigers in terms of selling. So we can clearly know that the Tigers are sellers. We knew that coming in, but now we are knowing that for sure. According to ESPN, we have sources that say that the Rangers are ready to move Yu Darvish. But giving up Yu Darvish would not be the smartest idea for the Texas Rangers. As I said, they're still in that wild card race. If they want to stay in that wild card race, they are going to have to keep Darvish to stay in that wild card race. The Athletics are actually currently playing the Blue Jays. Sonny Gray was pitching this game. Probably a few scouts in attendance. I'm still not sure about that, but he went 6 innings, giving up 5 hits and 4 runs. None of them earned. So Gray committed an error himself. So 0 earned runs given up, all runs given on errors. You don't want to do that if you're Sonny Gray. I mean, he's being backed up by an Athletics team who we all know sucks. But you just gotta have it. If you gotta be in it. You have to be a player. If you're gonna want to be traded, you have to be a player who's gonna lead a team who's not playing at their best to do something. As we will look at the AL wildcard standings again, we have Texas at 3.5 out, actually, so they're going to have to make a dramatic swing. But they're still 3.5. They are still 3.5 out, but there are 5 teams ahead of them in the wildcard standings. Baltimore, who has the exact same record as Texas. The Angels, surprisingly, are ahead. The Mariners, Twins, and Rays, all ahead of the Texas Rangers. But the Rays are only one back, so the Rangers are definitely still in this thing. If they want to deal Yu Darvish, that is waving the white flag on the season. But really, if you're the Rangers, look at your young talent. The Yankees last year, they were dealing at the deadline. They dealt Chapman and Andrew Miller to... Chapman went to the Cubs, who won the World Series, and we had Miller going to the Indians. So they dealt two players who ended up going to the World Series. That's one thing you want to do if you're a GM, trade your guys for a World Series team. That's what they did. But they looked at their young talent. They brought up Aaron Judge. They brought up Gary Sanchez. They brought up Tyler Austin. And how did it work out for the Yankees? It sort of took down their white flag on the season. Joe Girardi wasn't giving up. And his team actually was in the wild card race for a good time. They didn't end up making the playoffs, as we all know. But the Rangers, they are not out of this if they still end up dealing Darvish. Both the Athletics and the Tigers are done on their season. But Yu Darvish is definitely the biggest name on the market and the biggest story. Because his team is still sort of in this. They're 3.5 out. But dealing their ace is sort of like waving a white flag. The Yankees gave away their 8th and 9th inning guys. 2 closer caliber players. Everybody said they were waving the white flag. They brought up Aaron Judge, Tyler Austin, and Gary Sanchez. And the Baby Bombers almost made it snuck into the wild card. Let's sink in. And we'll move on. The NL Central and AL Central races are the only 2 races which are really contender at this point. The NL Central, you got 4 teams in it, with the Brewers and Cubs leading the division at this point. The Brewers right now are up. They're up 7-0 on the Nationals. So they're going to take a half-game lead in the division. The Pirates still to play. They have a 10-15 game. The standings in the NL Central. The Cubs are half out of the Brewers, who lead the division. The Pirates are 2.5 out, and the Cardinals are 4 out. In case you're wondering about the Reds, they're long gone. They're 11 out, and they're talking about dealing All-Star Zach Cozart. His name's definitely going to be a mentionable name in the upcoming days. I'll be mentioning that name and some teams who are interested in Cozart. And we'll also look at the AL Central, the only other really race to look at. 1.5 out is the Kansas City Royals, who have made a second-half surge. The Twins are 3.5 out. Tigers and White Sox, they're waving white flags. White Sox have dealt Anthony Swarzak and Jose Quintana already. They got a lot of young talent in the offseason. They're going to get a lot of young talent this trade deadline. With Melky Cabrera being on the trade list, he definitely could reel in some big name young players. The AL East is actually a close division, pretty too, but they have 3 teams. The Red Sox lead the division up on the Yankees by 2 games. The Rays are 3.5 out, and they are a surprising team. Everybody is being surprised by the Tampa Bay Rays. They made not very many changes to their team this offseason. And now they're in this race. The Rays have definitely done something. They're definitely a Rockies team. They are a surprise team that nobody saw coming. And now they're in the race. Now they're in the wild card race. Not necessarily the division, but the wild card race. They are 1 out in the wild card. Nobody saw the Rays coming. We have a whole lot of division races. in the MLB. Thank you for listening to America's Pastime with Michael McKenzie. Until next time, good night.